Evening all. Well, the countdown is almost done. It's almost uprising. Well, what we're going to do in this video is actually talk about certainly some of the things that we know are coming in Uprising. A little bit of rumour mill, lots of rumours going on. But first off, if you haven't been aware of this, then you've missed something incredible. The last week, and actually the last yesterday, which is I guess Wednesday downtime till Thursday downtime, have all been 3 times the skill points, and I think I've played more Dust than is humanly possible. My head is spinning, and as I'm walking to the kitchen, I'm thinking about dropping spawn pads. So there's definitely something quite not right with my head at the moment. But basically, every single game you ran, doesn't matter really what it was, as long as it was in battle, gives you 3 times the skill points, which meant that a lot of people have really spammed it. And within the course of about 3 days, we ran, well, the squad has run pretty much exclusively 24/7 almost, and we probably pushed our our characters up by, I don't know, maybe 1.5 million, something like that. It's 1.5 million skill points. So if you missed out on this, then shame on you. You've missed something truly epic. I hope they repeat it. It's something I think it's amazing with fun. But there we go. So this is why we're kind of running kind of crazy ambush, running skirmish every single map we can, and we're just going for it. Anyway, so let's talk about the new patch. Now the new patch is only days away. I've started my goodbye to the old the old graphic engine montage already. I'm going to use up all my footage before I delete it all, and it is a shame in a way. I mean, I know everyone kind of bitches and moans about the textures and the graphics of this pack, but I've become very familiar with them. I think as they change and become a lot more, I guess, luscious and sexy, then I'm going to feel a bit sad about that. I don't know why. I think it's just this kind of feeling that, you become very used to the way a game looks and feels, and then all of a sudden it changes. We had this a lot in Eve, actually. Eve changed, numerous times in its graphical loveliness, and each time it did, it just felt like, wow, this is a whole new game, and you just kind of walk around the map for a while. We used to fly around the solar system just looking at stuff. So I'm sure a lot of that will happen. I mean, the graphical update is just astonishing, and I hope everyone's really excited about it, because it's just going to make a whole new game. I don't know if they're going to change the resolutions or not. I'm sure they will, but hopefully they do, because it would be nice to have a few more choices there. But as it stands at the moment, it's looking pretty nice, and everything obviously I do is in 1080p, and that's through a bit of manipulation, but it's certainly looking like it's going to be a very luscious game. Anyway, let's have some bad news. As you know, I run Scout pretty exclusively. I'm a big fan of Scouts, and I like all kind of weaponry, and I'm pretty happy with things like lasers and shotguns and so on. But from latest discussions and rumour mill is that firstly the prototype Scout will only have 1 mid slot, which means as a shield tanking suit, bad news, because obviously mid slots are what you use to shield tank. So that's a bit of a bummer. Also the speed of Scout suits is going to be nerfed. So that basically means that my one advantage of avoiding death by running away is going to be nerfed a little bit. So if you're a Scout suit runner like myself, maybe you just need to start factoring that in. Certainly I think it's not a problem. I'm told, again, don't blame me if it's wrong, but I'm told that basically none of the suits that are going to come out, even I think Protos, will actually have anything like the mid slots they have now. So for example, the Galante mid could have, I think he said, 5 low slots and maybe 1 or 2 low slots and 1 or 2 mid slots, which means basically you're not going to have this scenario anymore where people are just loading up damage mods onto suits and then killing you with ARs, lasers, or whatever it may be, which is probably a good thing. I think in terms of also the kind of, I mean, to be honest, I probably wouldn't have done that myself, but I guess there aren't really going to be any kind of ultimate ownage suits anymore. Even the heavies, I think the heavies will be pretty good, but I think the speed on them is going to be, sort of somewhat kind of adjusted as well. So I don't know. I think already from what I've heard, it's going to be going to have a bad time if you're a Scout runner, particularly. If you're a laser runner, you're going to have a bit of a bad time as well. So I think this could be almost like a farewell to the laser. Just as I get the bleeding Visium laser rifle as well, it looks like they've nerfed it to the point where I think you have iron sights, and I think it's got a you know, I think there's certainly different stats on it. Not the end of the world, but I think again, you know, I mean, I'm used to running lasers generally without damage mods, or at least without 3 or 4 of them, that's for sure. But I think it's not going to affect me too much. But I'm kind of almost getting to the point where I think, well, I've had my fun with lasers. I may do something else. I don't know if you've seen my shotgun video, but shotgunning is just the most, you know, energizing thing you can do in this game. It's fun, it's frantic. And there's no kind of I win, because you could have a prototype shotgunning suit and it's just as likely to die as a, you know, a kind of middle of the range, you know, like type B or even type A, just because you have to get hot and heavy and close to kill stuff. So, you know, there's always going to be this risk. You run around a corner and there's 5 of them there, which has happened numerous times. So I think shotgunning to me is quite an enjoyable thing. I hope they nerf the AR slightly. I think the AR still seems a little bit OP, only because I keep dying to them. And yes, I'm bitching, and yes, I'm a girl because I'm moaning about it. But I just think, well, not maybe nerf then. Maybe it'd be good to see other people using the other rifles. So the Minmatar machine gun and the Caldari rail rifle, they just look incredibly good fun. And I think maybe a rail rifle at this range could become the new laser, for example. So it could well be the, you know, the kind of laser range kind of weapon that you'll start to use. So I think that's certainly something quite interesting that's looking rather nice. Also, I think some of the pistols that are coming out are already, people are saying they're just ridiculous. Like the Flaylock pistol, the rocket firing Minmatar pistol. That has apparently stats of it hits you for 250, so that will kill most normal suits. Most vanilla suits would be dead in one shot with that. But there's also a splash damage on it as well, which is low but bloody high in terms of its damage. So interesting, you know, kind of, I think, you know, massive amount of new modules and rather weapons coming. So I think, you know, the fact that if you've been running a particular type of suit, you're going to start probably running something quite different very soon, which again is not a bad thing, to be honest. So there we go. I think in terms of the other vehicles as well, I'm not sure if we're getting jet bikes straight away, but I think we're getting the Scout LAV. What that is and what it looks like, couldn't tell you, but but I hope it's going to be something cool. And I'm sure, you know, again, things like vehicles, probably, I think the LAVs as well, they're kind of a bit, you know, they have a strange role in this game at the moment. They don't really do anything other than convey you from point A to point B. It would be nice to have that medium armored transport, which maybe is kind of, you know, able to withstand a bit of fire, so you could actually kind of roll it into an objective, all sit in the turrets firing and getting some good kills. I think I like the idea of that. I think it, you know, it turns it more into a kind of, you know, wide-on battle. And I think certainly when you look at the you know, the new tanks coming, the new, you know, the new dropships, the assault dropships, then I think you're going to see a very different kind of play. I think the assault dropship's probable primary role is going to be to deal with snipers, because again, I don't know how strong that rocket launcher is, but it'll be interesting to see. And I think certainly when you come to, you know, the way that I think people are playing now is it's just going to fundamentally change. I think prototype suits are going to become more expensive to, or rather more difficult to get into, because you're going to need like a 10 times multiplier with each skill level instead of 8. And so on. So there's lots of changes that I think are just generally being tweaked. I think maybe in the next video what I'll do is, I mean, I'll tell you maybe what I'm going to do in terms of my fittings, because I've already kind of planned out what I think I'm going to do. But again, to be clear, I'm not going to make any drastic changes well until you know, maybe the patch has landed for a week. So I'm just going to sit with all my skill points. I'm going to let everyone else go and spend and buy what they want to buy, and then maybe just monitor the forums, talk to my buddies, and see what maybe they're what they're finding and experiencing right now. Because otherwise, you're going to end up skilling up into entirely the wrong thing. But let's see how that rolls out. So there we go. Interesting battle in the background there. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.